It's my quarterback. If you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
All right, everyone, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talking entertainment. I know, once again, we can't talk about the failings of Daniel Jones in the big game. He's now, 0 for 10 in primetime games or something crazy like that, 0 for 9, 0 for 10. We can't talk about that. We're not allowed to talk about that because the Daniel Jones neophytes, the panty boys will be like, he doesn't have an offensive line. He doesn't have weapons. He doesn't have this. Okay, he's just not the guy. When he needs to shoulder the load, when the game is on the line, you can see it. He is just not the guy. Can we just please stop now? When the game matters, when it is placed into his hands, 2 weeks in a row now, when he needs to do something, either with his legs or with his arms, he just can't do it. And this has been going back now for 3 years. We got to worry about the Commanders now. Not only just losing that, we are now 0-2 in the division. And I thought the Giants could potentially win this game. I even said I thought they had the opportunity to win this game. I was hoping that Dallas took all the points that they had, they scored those 40-point explosion that they scored against Minnesota, that they would, that maybe they would peter out a little bit. But I'm not going to pull a Michael Ray Richardson, formerly of the Knicks, who came out with the famous expression, "The ship be sinking." I'm not getting into that yet. But at 7-4. You're going into the money part of the schedule. You are now 0-2 in the division. You have the Commanders playing well. You have Dallas, and Philadelphia showing that they are the cream of the crop. They rise to the top. And you're seeing now that the Giants, and this is not something we did not think was going to happen. You're seeing the warts of the Giant team. You're seeing the lack of depth and talent because of the salary cap issues, which is fine, which we all knew about that. But it's just one of those things that I go back to Dable going for it on 4th and 1. Going for it on 4th and 1 from the Giants' 45-yard line. Daniel Jones pass, yes, it was hurried. Yes, but it's a swing pass that he needs to make. To the right side, was low and behind Saquon Barkley. And the ball hit Barkley in the hand, so we all automatically have to say it's Saquon Barkley's fault. As he was falling backwards, and he failed to catch it. But that part didn't bother me. That part did not bother me. But as a franchise quarterback, as a guy going into year 4, he should notice that he only has 10 guys on the field. Okay? Can we talk about that? And I know we don't like to.
It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
I mean, the league has gotten the blueprint on Daniel Jones. You limit his running ability. You keep the spy in front of him. He is a downhill runner. He's not a guy that has the acceleration of a Justin Fields. Oh, and I got to talk about something for a second. I was arguing with an idiot on Twitter, and they were like, the Bears can't they can't rely just on the running of Justin Fields, with having a pass for only 170 yards and running for 100. That's not sustainable. And I said to him, well, that's what Daniel Jones does, or that's what Daniel Jones does at times, and everyone thinks he's the Messiah. So how come Fields is doing the same thing in Chicago, but it's not sustainable, but we could do it here in New York and be sustainable? Things that make you go, mm-hmm. And Justin Fields is on pace to run for 1,000 yards from the quarterback position. He just doesn't have it. I'm sorry. He just doesn't. The big play was a brilliant catch, the 44-yard reception from Darius Slayton, which set up the first touchdown. That was a brilliant catch. It was a lucky throw the ball up and see what happens, but sometimes you run into those. Even a blind, like I say, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn. Are we at crisis point? This is what I talked about a million times before and people didn't get it because some fans are just too stupid to understand it. When I said this is the Giants are going to need to reach a crossroads. The Giants are going to have a moment where it's a crisis situation. And I kept telling the people that it's a crisis situation isn't when you're down by 10. A crisis situation is when you're sitting there and you're now 7-4 and you've lost 2 in a row. This is what we need to look at. This is what we need to see the Giants have their mettle, their intestinal fortitude, what they can do to help push through these problems. This is a crisis situation at this point right now. It really is, because you are now 0-2 in division. You've lost back-to-back games badly. You are now 7-4. Now you're going to open up a 4-game stretch against NFC opponents. So you're going to have to see what this team has. You're going to have to see what's in the tank. And I don't understand Wink today. I really don't. Like I said, I'm a huge Wink fan. But how do you stay? You know your secondary is depleted. How do you stay in man-to-man coverage? How? How do you stay in man-to-man coverage? Now, everyone wants to talk about the Rodarius Williams interception. Great interception. But it was a blown call by the refs. It should not have been an interception because of the fact that Kayvon Thibodeau should have been called for a neutral zone infraction. The Cowboys thought it was a free play because Kayvon Thibodeau he was either off, like I said, he either encroachment or it was a neutral zone infraction. It was one of those things that the Cowboys beat themselves more than the Giants kept the score close. And the score wasn't even close because you know what? It was a garbage touchdown at the end. I love it because I can't remember, one subscriber wrote and guessed the score. He was like, yeah, the Giants are going to lose this, and they're going to get a garbage touchdown on the end to make it look close. I'm more upset with the fact that this really shows, like I said, this really shows the Giants' warts. It really did. For 2 weeks now, 2 weeks in a row. And like I said, you're going to have the neophytes who are going to blame injuries. They're going to blame everything under the sun. But the fact that they got beat by a better team, or the fact that their quarterback just does not have the ability, the big game ability, and we've seen this over and over again now. You just doesn't have the big game capability. And I love it now because you go on Twitter and I laugh because at one point we were 6-1, and now all of a sudden Twitter is starting to turn against Daniel Jones. And I love it because people are going after Shannon Sharpe, and he's just so succinctly put it: Giants ain't ever winning anything with Jones as quarterback. He's a jag, aka just another guy. I think that sums it up perfectly. And you look at it, you have what's his name, Ralph Acciano. Just look at the room. If Daniel Jones makes a better throw to Saquon Barkley, feels like there's been waiting for that play to open up all year long. Daniel Jones is 0 for 5 on fourth down throws, the most in the league without a completion. There's no way Daniel Jones is getting a contract extension. If Daniel Jones was more sure of himself, he would be a decent quarterback. Anyways, he seems to be second-guessing every decision. Another one, is Daniel Jones really the long-term solution in New York? I love it because all these guys recently were just kissing the ass of Daniel Jones. There's only one. The Giants only had one Ryan Clark rule that was a must in order to win. And he wrote, Ryan Clark, that is, don't have to win with Daniel Jones throwing the ball. In other words, the less quarterback Daniel Jones does, the better. Way too much quarterbacking going on here. It's time. And I love it. Marcus Spears, why are the Giants going so slow? Here's another one from another guy. He said, the Giants are down 2 scores with 5 minutes left, and they're taking 30 seconds between plays. How? Even my kid is like, why are the Giants running out the clock? Bad sign, no urgency, no pep, writing them off despite their 7-4 record. I love it because my mother, who was in her 80s, was, we had all the family over for Thanksgiving, was in her 80s, watches the Giant games. And I love it. Her thing is, she goes to me, and I love it. She goes, Dan Jones holds on to the ball too long. An 80-year-old woman who barely watches football can tell you that our quarterback hangs on to the ball too long. And the meltdown for Brian Dable, like I said, I love Brian Dable, but he's got to reel it in a little bit because the penalty was a penalty. He was down. The lineman was the penalty that called back the touchdown. The offensive lineman was downfield, to the fact that the offensive lineman even looked around at one point and started walking backwards. So I know it's in the throes of passion and in the for the Giants, but can we just stop now? Can we just please stop? Can we just keep looking forward? And can we just start now having the understanding that we're going to take a quarterback next year? I love it because Joe Shane came out and was talking about the fact that he was that he was not going to negotiate contracts with Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley after the bye week. If he was going to do that, then we were going to wait towards the end of the season. And he had been in touch with Saquon Barkley's agent, and they've been speaking over a period of time. And then he was asked about Daniel Jones, and it's like, well, we have never talked to Daniel Jones' agent. That should be a dead giveaway to some certain people. That's a dead giveaway. Like I said, I'm just more upset that we lost. And I'm more upset. I thought we were going to, I thought maybe we'd have a chance to win this game, but I'm more upset about the fashion that we lost this game in. It just sucks that we go Commanders, Eagles, and then Commanders, and then we got the Vikings, and then we go Colts, and then we go Vikings in Minnesota, and then we go Colts at home, and then Eagles on the road. You have potentially 6 games that you could lose right here. You could potentially lose these final 6 games of the season. Would that be considered a monumental collapse for the Giants? I don't think it would, to be honest. For other teams who had higher expectations coming into the season, it would probably be a monumental collapse. I think for the Giants, it wouldn't. It would suck. It would suck rocks. But I don't think you can consider it a collapse because of the fact that the Giants, like I said, the Giants for the first X amount of weeks we're doing this we're winning by mirrors. We're winning by the luck of the bounce. If we're going to sit down and honestly look at this, which is fine. So that's why I'm not going to sit there and tell you that if they were to lose these last 6 games, that it would be a monumental collapse. I don't think it would be. I would think it's just what this team is, that this team is working towards the future, that they're working towards getting better, that they're going to need to find a quarterback because it's just Daniel Jones just is not it. He's not it. He's not even close to being it. It's almost like it, not it. I just hope that one day I just hope that certain fan base figure this out quickly. And like I said, Daniel Jones just does not seem to have any confidence whatsoever. I mean, if you take away 44 yards, he's thrown for under 200 yards today. And it was a great lucky catch by Darius Slayton. Thank God Darius Slayton's come around. And like I said, if you're going to sit there and complain, I love it because people that played in the league, people that played in high level, NFLers that are Hall of Famers are bashing Daniel Jones and have been for weeks. But the certain Panty Boy Daniel Jones fan base is like, they don't know anything. I love when Kurt Warner does the videos and breaks it down and everything. And people are like, well, what does he know? Yeah, he's only a Super Bowl winning quarterback, Hall of Famer. Yeah. What does that idiot know? Is it February yet? Sometimes I need to know that. Is it February yet? We got a game coming up against the Commanders on Saturday. I will be there. I'm not sure who's coming with me, but I will be there. I will be there rooting this team on because you know what? I'm a fan of this team, no matter what anyone says. I'm the only one that ever sits at these games. I'm the one that's only I know I did that, but it'll be fun. Like I said, I'm with James Williams on this one. I'm just taking what we get this year. I'm just happy to have what is in front of us. I'm just happy to have, the Giants have 7 wins. Like I said, I am just taking the way this season is playing out and just enjoying it. And again, this is Tim with the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could subscribe, if you ring that bell, you're going to be